changing the way we think and how we live our lives is one step in the right direction.
Welcome to Be Well Berkshires. I am your host, James J. Willis. I am the administrator of the Be Well Berkshires Community Initiative. Be Well Berkshires is a mass emotion initiative that is designed to promote policies and programs to foster healthier lifestyles. What does that mean? Well, it means that we want you to eat better, move more, and be well. The format of this show is to speak with community members on what's going on in our community regarding health and wellness activities and to bring that information to you. I want to welcome Jenny Young, who's our guest for today's show. Jenny, you're the Director of Wellness and Community Health at Berkshire Health Systems. Welcome to Be Well Berkshires.
Well, thank you, Jim. I'm very excited to be here.
So one of the things that you work on over the health system is worksite wellness, which that's a really interesting concept that's really taking momentum across the nation, where employers are actually investing into employee health and wellness. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on with worksite wellness.
Okay, that's great. And you're right, it is something that's really starting to have momentum and move forward, because what we're finding is as we're looking to try and change people's health, most of our time, 40, 50, 60 hours a week are spent at the work site. So if we're trying to be well after work or before work, that's really cutting down a very small amount of time that we have. And employers are starting to really understand that healthier employees are better employees. They are more productive, more creative, more motivated, and it just makes a better workplace. So it's a win-win. They need help, though. So what we do is we go in and we'll assess a situation, a work site, where are there opportunities to infuse wellness into the work site. And that means where there are opportunities to provide classes, possibly, information, literacy, wellness literacy. Where can we talk to them about nutrition, stress management? That's a big part of it too. So it's very multidimensional, because when we look at wellness, even just in the workplace, there's movement, nutrition, stress management, and there's also then communication, community. So we really look at all those things and try and create a plan that's designed for the company, that works with their culture, their people's schedule, and try and make it a workplace that's just has more opportunity for them to be healthy, so that their work environment is part of their life and not just something separate from it.
And I think employers are actually looking at that a little bit closer now more than ever, because I think with rising health insurance costs and premiums driving those costs, I think prevention is the, it may not save you money today, but it may save you money tomorrow or the following year. And I think, employees that are smokers, or they're not eating healthy, and there's obesity issues.
Yes.
It really drives up the cost of insurance, in which employers are participating heavily in. And I know there's a lot of companies in Berkshire County that are part of Worksite Wellness, and I think it's a really good concept that is really taking hold nationwide, and I think it's really important for the community.
It definitely is, and it is a benefit to the employer because it is expensive, and they have a real a good reason to try and improve that, because they are paying the cost for it. And it's interesting, Jim, because what's making us unhealthy, 100 years ago, what was killing people, making them unhealthy, were germs and viruses. And the Western medicine is very good about coming up with pills and medication to do that, to take care of that and to save people's lives. Now what we're struggling with is our lifestyle. And so that's not something that's easily cured with a pill. That is taking education, it's changing habit, it's helping us turn things around. And if the employers can be part of that, so that means the vending machines. People are going to snack. 3 o'clock comes and they're going to snack. If they have options, healthy options, that makes a big difference. And they are going to see that in their claims later on, when they might have stopped a heart attack. They might have stopped someone from becoming diabetic. That is going to be huge.
Yeah, and I think, having employers, working with employees, I think employees always get worried if they're sick and they call in, they're going to lose their job. And I think that is something that needs to be worked on. And also being flexible with employees' time.
Yes.
Giving them a half-hour lunch, whether it's paid or unpaid. So people can exercise on their lunch break. A day like today, it's beautiful out, and I think all those little things go a long way, and it's really important, I think, because I think our lifestyle is so much different now than it used to be. I think processed foods, I think healthy portions are an interesting thing. And I think overall we're just so busy with work and lifestyles. We need to take time for ourselves, and I think having employers invest into employees, for cost saving measures, obviously, but the overall work productivity.
Yes.
There's presenteeism now, and there's all these different words that we don't even know what they mean. Where work production is down, people aren't feeling groggy, they're not eating well, they're not exercising well, and I think work production is a thing too. Now, are employers seeing like a significant cost savings investing into worksite wellness? Are they seeing that 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Do you have any sense of the type of cost savings? So if an employer is going to invest $1, like what are they getting back in return for savings on healthcare?
Good question. And there's two ways I'd like to answer that. The first, one of the things about a wellness program is that it's actually very good for recruiting. So to have a very robust wellness program can help you get the good people in. The people who are already healthy, the ones who know that they want an employer who's going to care about them as a person, care about their health. So that's one thing that's a good thing about it. The other thing is the real money payoff, when you really see a return on investment, that really is a little bit down the road, more like five, and then it continues as you go on from there. 10, you're really going to see it. So one of the things we'll hear is people say, well, if there's a lot of turnover, why am I going to invest in somebody, now? But there's also some immediate results. There's just more creativity. As you mentioned, productivity goes up, and that they'll see right away. Now, that's a harder thing for us to measure, but you will notice right away if someone is feeling good, their brain is working better, right? They're quicker, they're having really good relationships with their coworkers, they're motivating each other. That's a real different environment than people who are sluggish or not feeling well or disengaging. So right there's that, but that is a tough one. But when you look at saving money for keeping people healthy, so keeping them away from illness, that takes longer to build up, but that does happen, and we are looking at something more like 5 years out.
It's still pretty good return on investment because, on that 5th year, health insurance costs aren't going down.
No.
They continually go up, and I think so that's good that you don't have any employees sleeping at a staff meeting, and so the productivity is higher. But I think if people, and I think that's really interesting too, from a workforce recruitment perspective, because we see, as an employer myself, there's turnover in staff all the time for a variety of reasons. Higher pay, people moving out of the Berkshires, so on and so forth. It costs a lot of money recruiting, training, and we want to keep those employees around. So I think those little incentives could go a long way.
And I think it's really becoming, it's not something that's a nice to have anymore. It's really something that is expected. Many employees expect their employer to have a wellness program, to have something that's in place for them to stay well. Because if you're trying to stay well and then your employer is bringing in either pizza or donuts or cookies in meetings. You've been in those meetings where it suddenly, and it always happens, when you're at your weakest moment, and they'll bring them in. But what if they actually brought in fruit platters, healthy roll-up sandwiches, and they really said, we care, and that is who our culture is. That's who we are as a company. That is a huge benefit.
And I think that sends a very strong message. I mean, I know something early on that we were working on with Well Berkshires was trying to get, municipal employers, the select boards, the councils, and if you're providing some type of training or sponsoring some type of event for employees, stay away from the pizza and the soda, and and we were able to convince several select boards in the Well Berkshires collaborative to actually adopt the healthy meeting resolution.
That's fantastic.
And I'm really glad that we're seeing that kind of spread out with major employers, and I think that's really important. So, and I know, Dave Phelps, the CEO of Berkshire Health Systems, he really, I think, re-energized the whole employee wellness, worksite wellness, because I guess the story is, he went to his wellness coach and he was diagnosed with, I don't know, hypertension or something.
And diabetes.
So
yeah.
he really made a concerted effort. And it's a really good story to tell our viewers that, leadership at the highest level recognizes from a granular perspective the importance of overall health and wellness of the employee, and I think that's really important. So take notice, employers out there that invest in health and wellness programs.
Exactly, and really for the success of a health and wellness program, and you need that high level support. You need the executives, and the higher the better, who are really saying, yes, I believe in this. And Dave, for the goodness of his heart, he wasn't really convinced from a financial point of view that the wellness program was good. But he thought it was the right thing to do. He said, we care about our people, we want them to be healthy, why wouldn't you? So he made that investment. Then he went through his own transition when he went to his wellness coach, and as I said, found out he was actually diabetic, and he was able to turn it around. He's no longer diabetic. He's lost weight, looks great, has a lot more energy, and also, so years and years, a couple years gone by, we're seeing real returns on our investment just from Berkshire Health Systems because of our robust wellness program. So, our claims are relatively flat. Our insurance increases, so we're seeing that our people are healthier. And we've expanded it to the spouses, and I think that's a trend we're going to see continue.
Yeah, and I know people that are part of the health care group, that BHS offers. They have all these online tools now. You can log your exercise, and it's amazing of the results that you can accomplish if you're pre-hypertensive or diabetic, or you may have a chronic disease. If you're able to even walk a mile or a half a mile and build yourself up, eat a little bit better, go to some of our healthy dining option restaurants in our collaborative. We have almost 30 now. Lowering your sodium. Those little steps can really go a long way to making you feel a lot better and getting you back in shape.
Yes.
It takes a lot to make that lifestyle change, but it can be done.
It definitely can be done. And what's great is you bring up too is the awareness. People aren't really aware of how much they're eating, of how much they're not moving, of the stress in their life. And what's nice about going online or having it on your smartphone, you can see, or there's bands people are wearing, all these different technologies where you can see how many steps you take a day. And you can log in your food and you really get a reality like, wow, I'm eating that much sugar. I didn't think it, you're just here and there and you don't calculate it. But having those tools can bring your awareness up, and then you can make choices based on that awareness versus on what you think is going on. So I think that's right to it. And our online program's been great, and many of the companies that we work with are using the online program as well.
Yeah, I got something for Christmas where it tracks your steps and it automatically syncs in wireless to the wireless on the computer. And it's amazing how much exercise we actually do every day. Whether you work full time or you're a stay-at-home parent or you're retired, working in the garden, walking up, around the house, you can actually get those steps in. And when you see that and you can increase those steps, it makes you feel better. Your drive increases, and I think it's really pretty cool stuff out there to make life a lot easier, because there's so many programs out there. You can get a membership at a gym. You can do Weight Watchers and all those other similar programs, and then you can actually go into the store and try to read labels, which are very hard to do. So I think a lot of people that I talk to in the community, they get discouraged because they exercise or they'll enroll into a program and they don't see immediate results, but it takes a long time to inconsistent to do with that. And I know that you are you have experience with yoga.
Yes.
And are you a yoga certified instructor?
I am. I'm a Kripalu yoga teacher. I'm certified. Took my training at Kripalu. I'm also an integrative health coach out of Duke University.
Nice.
So combining those two together, I really has been exciting for upping my level of understanding how we can really turn people's wellness around with small steps.
Yoga has gotten pretty popular. Me personally, I always felt like when I tried to do yoga, it was just so quiet. And I always felt like I'm just not running fast enough, I'm not sweating enough. And talk about you know, your experience with yoga, and for those watching the show, if they're interested in getting into yoga, because I don't really know much about it, but I tried it on the Wii Fit at one point in my life, and you know, I keep dabbling into it, but it's nothing that has been consistent with yoga for me.
Well, it's interesting because the word yoga, especially to the American population, is a big word. It means many different things to many people, and there are many different types of yoga classes. From the yoga class you can grab in your gym, to you know, to a yoga retreat, to different types of yoga, Kripalu being one of them. So I think the first thing I really always encourage people to do is to research, because you don't want to just jump into a yoga class. There's an article a while back, I don't know if you remember, where they was talking about a lot of people getting hurt in yoga because they were really not, they were doing it almost like an athletic event. And the whole idea of yoga is linking breath to movement, to being very mindful as you move through it and listening to your body. That's the key. So, and you can start slow. I teach at the Cancer Center, where I'm working with you know, these wonderful people who are struggling with the results of the cancer and also the treatment. So their movements, we do a very gentle class for that, but it helps strengthen and de-stress. Then there's also some other classes that you can do to start really building strength. But all of it starts with that mindfulness of really going through it, and you want a teacher who really knows what your objectives are and what you're doing, you know, what you want to do. But there's some great studios around in our area. We're very lucky.
So if you're a first-time yoga person, don't go to a class where you can
don't
get
go
hurt.
to it, yeah.
And I think research, you know, I think yoga, I think meditation, and I talk to a lot of people, you know, in the Be Well Berkshires community, you know, we're seeing more and more people really dabbling into meditation to, you know, kind of de-stress out from the end of the day, and it's something. I think yoga is sort of like a peaceful sort of exercise thing, and it's something I definitely encourage people to get into and stuff. But do your research, go to a beginner class.
Go to a beginner
Don't get
class.
hurt.
Right. Listen to your body. You know, we always talk about the wise teachers within. So if I'm ever leading anything in my class and it doesn't feel right in the body, or they feel like they're pushing it, I say, don't listen to me. Listen to your body. You know, and then we can talk about it after class about maybe what was going on there. But you know, that's where people, you know, I'm going to get my leg as high as that person next to me, and that's not what it's about.
Yeah. But there's so many different exercise programs, different techniques out there. And I think people need to really look at themselves, what is the best fit for them individually, and get on a good plan and eat. And I think eating healthier. And I think, you know, with our healthy dining program, we have 30+ restaurants out there now. We're working with those facilities to make sure that they're offering lower sodium. And I think eating better is a huge component, because I know people that exercise, you know, they're physically fit, but their sodium is through the roof, and they're pretty hypertensive. And so I think, you know, we can't forget about eating healthier too, and I just think we, you know, we're in a different environment now, where, you know, you go out to dinner and you get the $9.99 meal. You want the largest steak, you want the most starch potatoes you can possibly get. So I think, you know, we're still in some tough times where when people do go out to dinner and they really can't afford it, they want their biggest bang for their buck, and that's not a good thing either. I think you know, it feels like we're a consumption country. We want the most we can, and I think healthy eating is a really important aspect of that as well.
It is, and you know, something that goes along with that really well is mindful eating. So that you talk about, oh, I want the most for my money, and that's something you can totally understand. But the other thing is, how does it really make me feel? Because often when we eat those big meals, we actually don't feel so good afterwards, and it actually doesn't. You either get heartburn, or they're feeling not so good, and also it's contributing to a decreasing health. So try and shift thinking around, how do I actually feel when I eat this? To eat slower, to pause. What choice do I really want? And the other question too, because we are consuming, sometimes we're consuming and we want other things, but we'll eat food because it's convenient. So that kind of pause of saying, what do I really want? What am I really hungry for right now? You know, is it to talk to my friend? Is it actually just to de-stress? But I'm going to use food, and how can I make a choice, a different choice? So that's kind of shifting how we think about, you know, immediate gratification and addressing it. To go a little deeper, and yoga and actually meditation, which we talked about before, are two great ways to kind of slow down and really check in with, what do I really need right now? What's going to be the healthiest for me in the long run?
Yeah, in some of our restaurants, they're actually offering half portions now at a reduced cost, and I think, you know, how many times have we gone out and we ate so much and you can't even get to dessert, you know, and that's not a good thing either. Then you know, people take their food to go, and then it sits in the refrigerator, and then you feel compelled that you have to eat it because you already paid for it. And, you know, I think all these, you know, techniques, you know, exercising, eating in moderation, healthy eating, you know, cooking at home more often, you know, shopping locally, knowing where your food source comes from, and I think we also need to have really good physical environments as well.
Yes.
I mean, if we live in a neighborhood with no sidewalks, no lighting, it doesn't create opportunity to want to go out there and exercise, and I think that's an important thing as well.
I agree, very much so. And that's why, kind of winding right back to employee wellness, when you're with your fellow employees during the day, you guys can, you know, walk if there's areas, because you're together, and that can be a nice resource for that. If you feel, you know, we do want to change those areas, but if during work as time you can actually walk, that would be a great time to start, you know, and hopefully employers can support that. Yeah,
and I know a few years ago when we worked with, I think it was Healthy Pittsfield, Well Berkshires, the City of Pittsfield, and Berkshire Health Systems, we created the downtown walking loop.
Yes.
It's amazing the amount of people that I see when I travel through Pittsfield, how many people are walking that every single day.
Yeah.
And that's just another example of collaboration. And you know, and I think with Karen Rowe, who's the Well Berkshires coordinator, they're working with Healthy Pittsfield, I think Tyler Street Business Group, and they're looking at a walkability loop in the Morningside area that's going to link to the farmers market. So it's great to see all these collaborations going on. And you know, getting back to the worksite wellness, are there some types of like competition between employers on, you know, setting goals, and is there anything like that going on with some of your clients?
Healthy competition is very good. We don't do it so much between employers, but the employees. They get teams who can walk the most. You know, who can, you know, come up with more creative recipes. That's another one where groups will get together, departments, and decide as a department they're going to be healthier, and they do salad shares, and then other departments might look on and say, oh, we want to do that too, and they get some healthy competition, and that's where the website also comes in great. We do a lot of challenges, so there'll be a step challenge, a healthy eating your fruits and veggie challenge, low sodium challenge, even just drinking more water, you know, replacing soda with water, replacing juices with water, and so sure, that really motivates people.
Yeah, juice, and I think, you know, natural juice is a good thing. I think we see so many kids out there now drinking all these fruit juices just loaded with sugar. And you know, one thing we're working with the schools on better, healthier food choices in the school, getting rid of the flavored, you know, sodas and chocolate milks and whatnot. And it all plays hand in hand. And you know, I know there's definitely a lot of worksite wellness stuff going on, and I think it's really important, I think, in the community. And I think, you know, from the private sector to the public sector, working with restaurants, exercise programs, good physical environments, I think are all prime opportunities to increase overall health and wellness in Pittsfield and Berkshire County.
Definitely, and all the things you're doing, all these other things you're doing, what's great about Worksite Wellness is we can bring those resources, that information into the employer, so we can help spread the word, so they know about the walking loop, because we go in and we talk about it, and we make sure they know it is too. So it's just another level, another way to communicate, you know, so we can all, because we're all working together over the same goal.
So Jenny, if anyone's interested in worksite wellness, how does an employer investigate that? You know, is that something that they contact Berkshire Medical Center, Berkshire Health Systems?
Berkshire Health Systems, the wellness at Work. We also have a website, so Wellness at Work, and they can contact me or any of my amazing staff, because it really is a team effort, and we would go in and help. And every one of our programs really is tailored to meet what the need of that company is. Yeah. And we have, you know, Berkshire Health System, we have an amazing, talented team of physicians, nurses, health educators, fitness instructors, yoga teachers, all kinds of wonderful staff to be able to create just the right type of program.
But your department does more than just worksite wellness. You do community outreach, and you guys are everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I see that van. You staff Third Thursday, and you really try to increase the overall awareness of activities in the community. And it's not just worksite wellness that you're working on. You're working on a lot of stuff in your department.
That's true. Well, BHS, our goal is to help improve the health of the community of our county. So it's in any way we can. And so Berkshire, Health Systems is known for taking care of people when they're sick. We want to be just as well known for keeping people healthy.
Yeah, and I think it's with the travesty that went on in North Adams and the lack of services down there. BHS is now playing a more active role up in North County, and I think working together to create that access for health care, whether it's acute, emergency services, primary care, and I think we're all in this together. There's no borders in public health.
No, none at all. And we've been doing a series up there about wellness, about stress management, taking care of yourself. Self-care is so important. So just trying to remind people to, how important they are in new ways and resources for taking care of themselves.
Yeah. So we're close to being out of time, so how can people get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me through Berkshire Health Systems. It's just jyoung@bhs1.org. And I'd be happy to talk to anyone, even if it's just questions,
Well, thank you for your time, Jenny, and good luck with all your adventures in yoga and worksite wellness, health and wellness, community outreach, and thanks for tuning in, folks. Once again, I am Jim Willis. I'm your host of Well Berkshires. Thank you for watching.